It's the most wonderful time of the year.
I didn't know we were starting off with a musical.
I wanted to catch you off guard just a little.
Well, hello everybody. I am Afro.
And I'm Silhouette.
And we are members of Eclipse at Dawn. And we don't have Pyro with us today. He's a little busy. But for now, me and Patrick here decided to talk about E3 2019, which is, as of this recording, in 2 days.
Sorta. I mean, technically it started today. Or
no one
starts
counts
today.
EA streams.
Yeah, no one counts EA streams. That's actually, that's even how I have it in my notes.
Well, fantastic. Yeah, it's Friday for us. So we're going to talk about the upcoming conferences at E3 and what we think we're going to see and our thoughts on how they're going to go in general.
Yeah. I figure we should highlight EA just a little for a second because, I feel like I just want to, praise them almost for not holding a fucking conference.
Yeah, them and Sony decided to strike it out on their own, and, I don't blame them. Maybe they don't have that much to show, or maybe they just want to focus on their own thing. I know with Sony, they're working hard on that next generation console, so...
Yeah, we know Sony's just kind of backing up because they want to make sure they have everything set for the PlayStation 5 reveal, and, I think they're also trying to take notes from Nintendo everywhere they can, and they've realized that one of the things Nintendo is doing in this market is they've realized that they can just do their shit on their own. That they can do their shows and just be okay. Yeah. And that's all they have to do on their own.
With the pre-recorded directs and showcases and stuff like that, there's not really a lot of room for mistakes like with a live press conference. So, though we may not see many of the glorious, awful moments in live press conferences that we used to in the past, we'll always have the memories.
Yeah, don't worry though. There are still some new memories. Ubisoft's still here.
Yeah, good point.
I always find them enjoyable anyway to watch, but at the same time, there's always mishaps at the Ubisoft conferences, but we'll get to them.
Yeah, there's always something, but for what I think I saw is that EA is doing several streams starting today, going on until the beginning of E3 on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Basically, they're just going to show off a lot of their stuff that they talked about already and stuff that they always have coming out. You got your FIFAs, your Maddens, your sports games, stuff like that. They're going to talk about Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's the Star Wars game. We're going to get a lot on that, actually, because I think this is the beginning of actually seeing things about the game, if I remember right. But I haven't been keeping up on it because, honestly, I'm just not interested this time. And I think that sums up my stance on EA stuff entirely right now.
That's fair, but it seems like with this one in particular, they're really trying to do something different than the Battlefront games. I believe it's supposed to be a single-player experience, so...
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that. I know for sure that part, because everybody finds it really weird that they've got BioWare making the multiplayer game, and then Respawn, the guys that did Titanfall, making single-player game. It's like... Wait, are their specialties literally the other way around? What's going on here?
Maybe they're just trying to expand their horizons a little bit.
Yeah. I've had that theory anyway, that maybe Respawn has always wanted to do a Star Wars game, and they're finally in that position, so they're like, you know what, let's do a Star Wars game.
Oh,
and maybe it's a passion project on top of being EA doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So...
other things that they're going to talk about, they have one for The Sims 4. Mm-hmm. The new season of Apex Legends, which that game's really died down from when it came out. It was the new hot thing, and everyone loved it, and it was like, this is gonna kill Fortnite. But I've from what I've seen, less and less people are talking about it nowadays.
Right. I like a lot of mechanics it has more than Fortnite, admittedly, but at the same time, Fortnite's a lot more accessible, and that's kind of why I just drifted away from it after a couple rounds,
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But it's cool.
Yeah, let's see if season 2 got anything cool to reel people back in.
Right, because I'd be willing to give it another shot, see how it does.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, is that, I think Do we really have much more to say about EA, though?
Battlefield.
Yeah, Battlefield.
All right,
I don't play
moving
Battlefield,
on.
yeah.
All right, so the first conference of this year's E3 is going to be Xbox's, which is going to be Sunday, June 9th at 2 p.m. for us, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Xbox last year, they did a pretty good job, actually, as compared to some previous years.
I think straight up their show was the best, even if it didn't have a whole lot of things to be like, this is why I should buy an Xbox One. Mm-hmm. Which, is the whole point of half of these, is to try and get you to buy the system, or to buy into what they're doing. And that's the one area I feel like they were a little iffy. But the show itself and the way they presented everything, they did a great job. Probably the best job of the whole conference.
They had game after game after game after game.
They revealed Devil May Cry 5, and that's all they had to do for me for a year, okay?
But yeah, let's see. I think that Phil Spencer himself said that they were going to talk about specifically 14 games at their show this year.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what exactly all of them are, but I know some highlights that are pretty likely. Halo Infinite.
Oh
yeah, the big Halo 6. Last year we only got that trailer with the helmet, and it was pretty exciting.
The reactions from everybody too was pretty great, and I know we did get little bits of more information out of it, but I didn't have the time to go back and look at a lot of what it was. One of the things I know we got was that this might take place on Zeta Halo, which I believe was a significant place for a lot of origins for something. Like, I think it was the origin of humanity or something like that is tied to Zeta Halo. And that's going to be interesting to see what they do for the lore. But I have to get around to reading these books, man. I actually really like Halo's story and the world they've built.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
But I still haven't played 4. I played 5, but I didn't play 4, so I was really confused.
Oh, that's fair. I mean, it's really hard to miss a Halo game. If you jump in at any point in the series, you're like, who's this guy? Why are we friends with these aliens? What's going on?
The one that's the worst for it. I skipped 2 because I couldn't play 2, and every copy of 2 I've ever gotten my hands on is broken.
Oh.
It's to a degree that it's absolute bull, because I had picked up a copy of Halo 2, put it in my system and it wouldn't run. I put it in a friend's system and it ran, but as soon as I picked up the controller, it crashed.
I see. So Halo 2 has a grudge against you.
Yeah, there is a god trying to stop me from playing Halo 2, and it's the one Halo game I've always wanted to play. So for a good decade now, I've just been missing whatever goes on in that story. So I was like, I know the Arbiter's in it. But you see, I'm worried if I go look up that story, YouTube's going to crash on me too. So I've just kind of given up.
You're just not allowed any access to Halo 2 in any shape or form.
Yeah, no, it's like with My Neighbor Totoro. I'm never going to get to actually watch that movie, because if I start to watch it, the apocalypse will begin. Anything will happen to prevent me from finishing the film. So...
But yeah, do you think they're gonna, it's obvious this game is not gonna come out this year or even next year. It's probably a 2021-22 game, if I were to guess, but do you think they're gonna have any, maybe a new trailer, maybe a little bit of gameplay, like a teaser or something?
I think they can't afford to skip over Halo Infinite, because it's one of their big ones for a reason. It's a hype-up game for a reason. And it feels like, in the strangest way, it feels like the big return of Halo. It feels like Halo's been gone forever, when it hasn't. Halo 5 was 2 years ago now? 3 years?
Yeah, I think around that time.
Yeah, it's very recent, but it feels like Halo has been gone for almost as long as, F-Zero was gone. No, okay, not F-Zero. That's an actual eternity right there. Oh, we'll get there. But, maybe a better comparison is how long it's been since the last Animal Crossing, and it feels like it's been so long, And I feel like they've brought it up now. They have to at least keep some attention on it, because if they don't, it's going to go back to the feeling we had with the other Halo games. That we're going to start to just be like, it's there, let it go, who cares? Yeah. And they really don't want that. But they can pull that off without showing Halo Infinite this year by focusing on Master Chief Collection on other systems.
Yeah,
because that's coming to PC finally, and that's a huge deal. This is the first time we'll have had any of the Halo games past 2 on PC.
Yeah, I mean,
officially, anyway.
Like they could definitely announce something like that for like every other console that's not Sony.
Yeah. Well, that's actually something I think we'll get into more when we get to Nintendo, but like there was that rumor of Xbox Live stuff and Game Pass coming onto Nintendo consoles and stuff, and I can't decide if that's something that they'll bring up, if it's a real thing. If that's something they'll bring up at their conference, or if they'll wait to let Nintendo do that. I feel like they'll wait to let Nintendo do that, but at the same time, it would generate so much more hype right away to be like, yeah, and it's going to happen everywhere. And that's something I want to get into when we get a little further down, when we get to Project xCloud.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because that's definitely something that they're definitely going to talk about that. Like I have no doubts in my mind.
I think xCloud is going to be the thing that they put on the Switch. That's my theory.
Yeah,
because I think it's going to come to everything. I also think this is coming to PlayStation 5.
Really?
That's how crazy I think they're going to go with this. But that's why I think they've been just talking with everybody and finally getting Sony on board. Now that's why I think that little deal what we heard about recently with Sony and Microsoft, like agreeing on something to work together for the next generation. I'm convinced xCloud is what that's going to be, because I think xCloud is going to integrate with like Game Pass. And that it's essentially going to be their equivalent of PlayStation Now. Mm-hmm. But I think that it's going to work on everything because their goal is to get their experiences everywhere. Microsoft is trying to play this weird game of being the third party that's on every system and also having their own first-party content. And it's this weird kind of game, but I think Microsoft's the only one in a position to make it work.
Well, at this point, all we can do is really wait and see, and see, like, it's gonna get announced, but whether or not how well it functions and how well it works, we'll just have to see for ourselves.
Right. That just reminds me, this is the year we're gonna see Nextbox.
Oh yeah.
I like that nickname still. I've been using it ever since I heard it. Just
there's Project Scorpion and Project
or it was
Scarlet.
Yeah,
Scarlet and Scorpion.
Scorpio.
Scarlet. Yeah. So whatever the heck those are, if we see those, that'll definitely be interesting. Maybe like some specs like like Sony did.
Right, I think that we'll actually see the whole thing, honestly. I just don't know what entirely they're going to be. Like, I've had this theory of a stream box kind of set up with it.
Ah, yeah.
But that's why I'm curious about why there's two projects, and maybe one of them is that stream box. But then what's the other one? Is that the full system? Is that going to be the thing? Or are they both going to be a full system of some kind, and they're going in two weird directions? There's a lot to think about here, and honestly, I'm just excited to see what they do. Because I really want to know what we're going to get out of this system. It's going to be interesting. And aside from 8K, which, side note, take a shot for every time you hear 8K in this conference, I promise. You're going to have some trouble seeing things by the end if they go for it. Because we're not ready for 8K, but they think we are.
No, I think 4K is like the maximum that we can really even humanly see right now.
Honestly, we can barely even see 4K. It's just that our displays have a harder time with that, or with displaying 1080p perfectly in 1080p.
Yeah.
That's a whole discussion for another time, but basically, short version, if you really want to see it in actual 1080p full quality, try to run it in 4K on a 1080p monitor, and you'll actually be seeing the full quality.
Mm-hmm. Well, so. We'll have to see if they even talk about it even just a little bit, but they still got a lot more games they're definitely going to talk about.
Oh, right. Any in particular you're excited for, since I gushed about Halo first?
Well, I'm really curious about this new Gears 5 because it's taking it was revealed last year. It showed off a lot of like what the story is going to be about, and they're definitely taking a different approach to it. Like not really any Marcus Phoenix guiding us. It's this new girl who I think has locust blood or something. It's something crazy like that, but. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see more development on that because Gears is a fun series on its own. One of the few Xbox exclusives that have been able to at least keep pace with Halo, at least from a little bit behind because Halo's like king of the hill, of course, but.
Halo is Gears the Microsoft franchise, but Gears has actually been good enough to be right with it. You know, it's It's like if Halo is the Mario, that Gears feels like the Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that they're right there.
Exactly. Besides that one, though, the only other game I could think of that the only game that I know is being worked on, or at least I've heard things about, is the new From Software game that one of the developers from there and George R. Martin have been collaborating for a new game that is apparently set within Norse mythology.
I've heard basically nothing about this one, actually, so...
Oh yeah, like it was just a rumor at first, and then I think someone got confirmation that George R. Martin went to Japan as a consultant for one of From Software's guys, and they're working together to bring this new game that'll probably be a little bit like what was its name? Their latest game, Sekiro. Yes, exactly. Shadows Die Twice. Yeah, so seeing something like that, like from the guy who wrote Game of Thrones, Song of Fire and Ice, and From Software, I think that could be a good match for
that sounds like the most intriguing kind of crossover. You know, it's like when you hear Guillermo del Toro working with Hideo Kojima.
Yeah.
You know, where you hear that combination and you're just like, everything about that makes a lot of sense, actually.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. So I'm fairly curious about that too. I wonder if we'll see anything about that. I feel like it'd be way too early considering Sekiro just came out, a couple months ago.
Well, it might be announced or teased, or at least for being a 2020 game, or maybe even 2021.
Right.
Or just coming in the future.
Right. That's something to think about, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued enough, It's kind of like when Bethesda announced Starfield. I'm like, okay,
something
maybe.
That isn't Elder Scrolls and Fallout.
Yeah, maybe I'm here. I like sci-fi more.
Any other games you think they're going to announce?
Well, not so much announce, but I think we're finally going to get the release date for Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
I agree with you. Right
there, that is probably my most hyped game for this whole E3. I want that so badly because I really love the first Ori.
Mm-hmm.
I sat through that, and it's one of those few games that you play and it takes you over for a bit. You can't stop thinking about this game, and I don't have nearly enough of those where you keep going. And I could do a whole hour of gushing on that game alone, but to see the sequel and everything that's coming with that is so exciting. The stuff we're showing, the new ways of fighting, because combat was something they needed to improve a bit on in the last one, because there's just not a lot of variety in the way you fight, and now there's new weapons and shit.
Ooh.
Ori has a bow and a sword move and all sorts of other cool abilities. And one thing that might make you slightly more excited and interested in this is one of the developers on this project is the guy who single-handedly made another Metroid 2 remake.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when after that got shut down by Nintendo, the team, I think Moon Studio is the name for him, they approached him and asked him to join Ori and the Will of the Wisps team. So he's been helping with the world design and everything else. And that alone has me so excited to see what they're going to do with this game. Because I can't wait to see what this guy comes up with, because he's brilliant with how he handled AM2R. And I can't wait. But I think we're going to finally get the release date for that, because it's been at 3 E3s,
Yeah.
This is probably the year we get something.
Well, here's a big question on it. Do you think they're going to keep it at a exclusive?
I think Will of the Wisps, yes. But I think that we're probably going to see some news about an Ori port to something else. Possibly Switch.
Very likely.
I lean on Switch more than any of them, because I don't think they're going to be that okay with going to Sony, unless, like I was saying, unless Project xCloud goes everywhere, Because if that happens, then of course this is going everywhere. But I feel like Ori and the Blind Forest is almost a no-brainer to throw onto the Switch if you can, because the system is actually sorely lacking in Metroidvania-style games at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And Bloodstain's going to fill that hole, mind you. And Time Spinner is also there, and Time Spinner's totally worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like nothing is that incredibly, yes, we have to have this kind of game, quite like Ori. And Cuphead going on there just makes me think more and more this has got to be it.
All right, I agree with you. That sounds pretty likely. I know it's pretty likely that we'll get some more Sea of Thieves news.
Oh yeah, so
Probably
getting more and more
update and
expansions
stuff.
on that.
And yeah, maybe Rare has been working on something else as well.
Yeah, actually, I have that in my notes too, where I feel like a new Banjo announcement is coming, and maybe I've gone too pie in the sky with Microsoft this year by this point. But I feel like it's a Banjo related announcement, but not necessarily like Banjo 3E at the same time. Like maybe that's in the cards, maybe just a remaster announcement, or maybe we do what I thought they would do last year, where Banjo was announced for Smash at Microsoft's conference.
That would be crazy. Like, right. I don't even, like, everyone would have to be watching Microsoft's freaking conference to see if that would actually be a thing, because if they don't, then they're going to completely miss that, and I think it might lose a little bit of its impact if, like, not everyone who's not expecting it, who, like, came to the conference just to see Microsoft stuff, are the only ones to see it.
Yeah, that's fair. I didn't really think about that before. Nintendo would try their hardest to make sure that their audience is aware. Mm-hmm. But who's to say that they wouldn't show that and then, or at Microsoft conference, and then show it again at the Nintendo one? Because, I mean, we've seen that happen. Or maybe Nintendo's a little wiser than that, and they'd show a different trailer that also showcases Banjo being there, you know?
But what about this? Mm-hmm. I think that they will do a Banjo 3, or like a new Banjo game to show that Banjo's back, and then he'll get announced later at Nintendo's conference.
That would be something pretty nuts to see them actually do it both on the same day. Bolts too. Though one of my little predictions in my notes is actually the Banjo-Kazooie Unbearable trilogy.
Oh no.
And Knuckles. Wait, that last part you can just strike out real quick.
I don't know. Having a freaking trilogy with nuts and bolts sounds...
Yeah, it sounds like the sour note at the end of a trilogy, you know? Like almost everything that has a trilogy, really. That third one always leaves a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth, you know?
Yeah, fair enough.
But, no, I agree. I feel like that would just be out of place, especially because that game doesn't need a remaster so much. Nuts and Bolts needs to be kind of just forgotten. But
it needs to be set aside in the back.
Yeah. But I also feel like they would avoid skipping over it, because to not acknowledge it would be kind of insulting in its own way. In that they poured a lot of heart and soul into that game, even if it didn't work out too well.
Yeah.
You know? And I feel like they're proud enough of it that they would bring it back for that.
The thing with Nuts and Bolts to me is that it wasn't a bad game. It was a bad Banjo-Kazooie game.
That's fair.
Like, I really enjoyed the vehicle crafting and stuff. I thought that was fun. Like, I played with that for, like, by myself for hours. But for it to have the Banjo and Kazooie name attached to it, it's kind of like it was trying something new that just did not work out for it.
Yeah. Was it... Honestly, what I kind of think of is like with Star Fox Adventures, where like that was a game that would have been stronger, I feel, if it wasn't tied to Star Fox. Like if they kept it the way it was when it was Dinosaur Planet.
Yeah. And
maybe Banjo Nuts and Bolts is kind of like that, where it would have been a better thing if they had made it its own original thing. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. Anything else you got?
Honestly, we missed... There's quite a few things. So, because my notes have a lot. I predict that we're going to see Kingdom Hearts 3's DLC info at this show, rather than Square.
Really?
Because last year we got that same trailer that was shown at Xbox at Square's conference for Kingdom Hearts 3, and that was a little weird. But we also had the announcement for Kingdom Hearts 3's DLC at a concert, so at this point I don't know what they're doing. But I think that we'll probably get more info on it at Square's conference, or the exact same info. I don't really know. Square's weird. But I think we're going to see Kingdom Hearts 3's announcement, or DLC announcement stuff here. Because Microsoft has had this habit of getting things to show when they don't have their own thing to show. Like, we've been talking about Microsoft's own IPs so far, and we still haven't scratched the surface of what they're going to do, because they're going to cover so many third-party titles. A lot of reveals are going to be there. EA's stuff is basically all going to be here. That's probably why it's another hour longer than last year. They're cramming the entirety of EA's whole other conference here, so really it's both. But I just feel like they would buy out the chance to show Kingdom Hearts in the same way that they went for it to show Vesperia last year. You know, that this is going to be their moment to be like, hey, we do have RPGs. I swear we care about the Japanese games. Promise.
Well, something that I'm looking forward to is something they do right before they announce something. I can't remember if it was an E3 thing or a Game Awards thing, but I'm pretty sure it was Xbox's E3, where like right before each announcement would be like world premiere, first look, Xbox exclusive,
enhanced on Xbox,
before every single thing.
Yeah,
and just like a whole collection of those was a great time.
You may have noticed that I didn't tell you to take a shot for those.
Because we here at Eclipse at Dawn do not want our viewers to die of alcohol poisoning.
Nah, that's why you should drink every time that you see the words 8K at E3 this year. Please don't. Selectively, at least. But another thing is, just a couple days ago, they announced Minecraft Earth.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, the mobile game thing that we saw an announcement, but we haven't really seen much of. Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to see some more info about that. We might actually get like an on-stage demo of it, because that's a big thing for them. Yeah. This is the 10th anniversary year for Minecraft, you know? Like, they're going to show something about that. There has to be, I feel like. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's probably one of those ones that I can almost count on being there, because they need to show us what that is and how that works.
Yeah, I'm curious too. It's like, from just the trailer that I saw alone, I didn't really get it. Yeah, they did it for the anniversary.
I only saw the article. I didn't see a trailer.
Oh yeah, there was a trailer. There was this person walking around with their phone, and like they turned like the world around them into Minecraft like structures.
Oh, that sounds cool.
But I don't exactly know how it's supposed to work. So getting more information on that would be interesting. And also getting more information on that. They announced it at Minecon like last year, I think. Minecraft Adventures or something. It was interesting because like it looked like Minecraft story mode, right? Mm-hmm. With like the animations and stuff, but like the main characters were like what would be like typical like D&D classes, like wizard and warrior. So
it's an RPG.
It looks like it. It just showed like a little trailer. I don't know if it was gameplay. I'm pretty sure it was just like cutscene stuff. But seeing more on that would be very well appreciated.
Right? You know, it's weird. When I was in high school, I hated Minecraft, and over time I've been more and more like okay with it, and now I'm actually kind of excited to see 2 different Minecraft announcements, or not announcements, but project information.
Yeah.
Reality has come full circle on me.
Minecraft is just a game that, yeah, you can hate it because of like the kind of people it attracts, or it just gets a bunch of annoying kids, but for what it is, it really is a phenomenal game that has left its place in history. Actually, right? During the 10th anniversary, it became the most sold game ever. It beat Tetris finally.
Wait, really?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That is a record. Well, then again, Tetris is weird because people always seem to count every iteration of Tetris as the same game. And I mean, yes, it's technically the same game, but so is Call of Duty. Guys, they have refined Tetris a little bit. Every version is different.
At this point, it's kind of the same with Minecraft, though. They have a lot of separate things as well.
Yeah. So it's strange. It's complex.
Yeah.
But still, like, that is something to beat. That's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So, I always thought it was just the highest selling indie game of all time only, so to see it get that high is really impressive.
It's been in the top 5 for several years now, and it just barely broke through it with the 10-year anniversary.
Damn. You know, I really should have bought it when it was on sale on the 10-year anniversary on Switch. I'll get it eventually.
One day.
Yeah. So before we drop off of Microsoft then, I guess, Any thoughts on what you might think are coming with the next box? The Xbox 720 some shit.
Well, I definitely think that Halo's gonna be like a launch title with it. At least that's what I think. Maybe the new GTA will come along with it.
Oh yeah, do we have a confirmation that that's a thing yet?
I don't remember. I can't remember if they've talked about it. I'm pretty sure we know it's coming.
Okay.
Like, they are working on it, but we don't know anything about it yet. Like, we don't know where it's gonna be, or, like, anything like that. All we have is, like, rumors and stuff, so, I don't know, maybe that'll be something else, like, they could drop.
Right. That would make sense to show at Microsoft conference the more I think about it, just because I feel like GTA has always sold the best with Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird considering it was, like, the most famous because of the PS2.
Yeah.
My only real thought on what the next box itself is I think that these two different units they're having and talking about are going to be a huge aspect of what this thing is and how it works. Because I think we're going to see, these two things interplay with each other. It's not too different from the Wii U gamepad and such.
Mm-hmm.
Only this one's probably going to be a much more well thought out idea that people won't mind programming for. Like, I think it's going to be like a stream box that you can just set up somewhere else in the house, and then you can connect around, or maybe digital only titles can be run on the secondary box.
Yeah.
And then the disc stuff can all run on the regular one. And maybe that's their way of transitioning us to digital stuff, or trying to sell more units by managing a cheaper version that's all digital stuff, and then the more expensive one that's the bigger things, with the better features.
Or maybe this is the time for Xbox to reveal their new portable console.
We've been waiting for them to do it since the PSP was announced as a thing, I would honestly be down with it at this point. I think Microsoft could get away with it.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Nah, I don't want them to, though.
Yeah, I doubt it. They're very... You want a portable Xbox? Get a Windows.
Yeah, get a good Windows computer. I think they know that, too. I think that's why they're skipping out on that market, because they've realized that they have something that everyone else doesn't. They have the streaming ability. They can make their games stream to your system and run really smoothly with this xCloud stuff if it works the way they're advertising.
Yeah. Which,
maybe that's the reason why they teamed up with Sony, is so they can find a way to fight off Google Stadia when that eventually takes over.
I know that people are excited for it, but I just don't think it's going to do well, but that's just me.
I think it's going to have an awful launch, and that's going to tank its reputation, and then they're going to fix it within a year, and then it's going to be great, but nobody's going to give it another shot.
No, well, only one way to find out.
Yeah, I know, right?
Only time will tell.
Yep.
All right.
Okay,
got anything else?
I think we're good there, honestly.
All right. Well, then the next conference in the lineup is Bethesda, which will also be on Sunday, but that'll be at it'll be 6:30 our time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So that'll be a nice little late night. Well, not late night, early evening show. Right. Bethesda. Last year, Bethesda did their first conference in a while. They usually don't have their own conference at E3, but last year was pretty interesting. Actually,
it was hit and miss. I feel, and the hits were pretty okay, and the misses were like begging the audience to applaud.
And the hindsight was 2020 that year.
All right. What I liked a lot from Bethesda for presentation before we go into the actual stuff of this year was the year before. Or, no, maybe not year before, but I think it was 2016, where they did this Bethesda Land thing.
Oh,
and
I
thought that presentation-wise, that was great,
that was
even if the content they showed was all ports, or, like, new things for the same game, but they weren't really new. It's like, that was interesting, but I think the Bethesda Land thing was this great aesthetic that I'm saddened that they can't pull that off another time in a row, because that was so good to me.
It was cool, yeah. 2017 was the first time they've been in for a while.
Yeah. And then they were back, or then they came back the next year. They're coming back this year.
Yes.
And the only thing I know before Bethesda's show is that they've confirmed that Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 Skyrim Harder, as I'm calling it, are not going to be shown.
Yes, they are not going to talk about it at all. Instead, they're going to I believe what they said, they're going to talk about probably some new updates for Fallout 76. Rage 2 came out last month.
And I've heard absolutely nothing about it since.
Mm-hmm. I guess the best thing they really have going for them is Doom Eternal, which will be coming out this year.
Right, and that, as much as I'm like, yes, please show me more Doom Eternal, I'm also in the back of my head like, you guys literally only had to say the words Doom Eternal coming eventually, and that was all we cared. Like, that game was going to sell no matter what you do. It's got the word Doom on it.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I feel like that's all they really have this year without the other two.
They do still have, they have that new Wolfenstein Youngblood that they announced last year.
The co-op one.
Yeah.
Well, if they can show us some really interesting co-op shooter mechanics with it, too, like, if this one pushes some boundaries and some new ideas into the mix, this could be the most interesting kind of co-op shooter.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping for out of that. That might make things more exciting to me.
We'll just have to wait and see. Everything in this is just wait and see.
Yeah, right.
But anything else on Bethesda? Do you think they're going to show something brand new that we don't even know about?
This time around, I don't think so. I placed this loose thought that maybe we'll see them bring back something that they have the rights to that we don't really think about that they have the rights to, and like an announcement of a revival of something, but I have no idea what. This is that weird kind of like that back of my neck maybe going on, but I could see something like that, but I can't see them making a new project right now because I think it was such a big deal to them that they're making something new with Starfield that I can't imagine them doing something new again in a row.
I have one idea, but it's going to be crazy. Now, I'm pretty sure it was at E3. I'm pretty sure it was E3 where they announced it was either April Fool's or E3. I can never remember the schedule for this, but they announced the Skyrim for Alexa.
That was E3.
Yeah, that was E3.
That was E3, and that's right up there in my top 10 moments of E3s ever.
I think they're gonna break the boundary again and put Skyrim on something else. It's good.
Phones?
It could be. It could be. It could even be the Skyrim board game, where you literally just play through the game, but you just move pieces on a board.
I hate that I buy it and I don't even like Skyrim.
or they announce a new update for Fallout 76, and they include this new thing that's like a arcade cabinet, and you go up to it and you wake up. And you see this Nord across from you that's like, oh, you're finally awake.
There is actually, in the world for Fallout 76, I found out there's this wagon that is set up with the skeletons placed just like it's those guys.
Perfect.
And there is a situation you can have where you can get knocked out and where you will wake up will be there. And it's like they're aware of the joke. They were very aware of the joke, and they set it up themselves, and it's great, and I'm so okay with that idea.
Well, anything else for Bethesda?
Honestly, no. I'm not much of a Bethesda guy. Like I've barely touched anything they've made. So
I enjoy Bethesda stuff fairly much. That's not even words, but but yeah, everything that they could have or do have, it's not really a lot.
Yeah, there is one thing they could announce that would excite me, and that is the bug patching initiative, where they decide to go back at every game and officially say that they're going to go through everything and fix all of the bugs. Every bug in Skyrim that's a problem? Yeah, we're going to fix them. All. Legitimately. They could announce that on an E3 stage, and I would actually be kind of excited. Because it would be like, holy crap, you actually realize that you've got a problem and you should fix it.
Yep, and then with the lottery ticket that I just won $1 million with, we'll go grab our flying cars.
I know, right? It'll be fantastic. I can't do it. I can't keep this straight face.
Well, with Bethesda out of the way, the next notable conference is actually our good friends at Devolver Digital.
You know, is it weird that I'm really excited to see where this goes?
I'm always excited for a Devolver Digital concert. I mean, conference.
No, it's a
No, it'll be a concert this year.
Bethesda was the conference. They'll do the conference again. Or not conference.
The
now
concert?
I'm screwing it up.
It's too late.
The wires are crossed.
Devolver Digital will also be on Sunday, but it'll be at 8 o'clock for us.
So, like, tail end of Bethesda's however long they are.
Yes, exactly. It'll be, like, basically right after Bethesda. Devolver Digital, like, they have pretty good games. They have pretty hilarious conferences. I just can't wait to see what they have in store for us.
Right. I have like two theories of things we might see, but these are just some things we know. I'm convinced we're going to see some new stuff too from them because they have something new every time, or at least they would if they had something new the first time. This is only the third episode, third film in the Devolver Digital Cinematic Universe, and that sounds like a joke. That's really what they call it.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
But you know, like last year we had wow. I got Metal Wolf Chaos and my friend Pedro mixed up in my head.
Oh yeah,
but, like, they
I'm
announced
excited
that
for
there.
my friend Pedro.
Yeah, I think one of the things we're going to see this year is actually going to be Katana Zero's DLC because we have a story expansion apparently coming of some kind, or a story continuation coming. Because I can't call this much of a spoiler, but Katana Zero ends on sort of a cliffhanger. But there's a thing in the game that's deliberately there, like come back in a couple of months. Is what it says.
Well,
like
what
straight
do you
up.
know? It just happened to be a couple of months.
Yeah, so we might be seeing something about that soon. And I think that E3 would be a cool place to see something for it if it's a big expansion, but if it's just a little expansion, we won't see it there. Metal Wolf Chaos is the other thing, though, that they have. The remake, master port, whatever it is of that.
That is such a great game.
Is it? I hadn't even heard of it until then.
Let me tell you the story about this game. This game is about the U.S. presidents fighting in mechs.
I wish that the audience could see my face. Okay, then. So, U.S. presidents all just fighting in mechs.
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln the mech.
But that game originally came out in Japan with like perfect English.
It was like with Sin and Punishment.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
No, it was just like never localized here, was it?
I think it was eventually. I can't remember.
All I know about it was that it was an original Xbox game.
Alright, so, given the history of Devolver Digital releasing games that you think are jokes at first, but turn out to be real, I want you to think of a random-ass game concept and just throw it out there, and that'll be your guess for what Devolver Digital is going to release this year, and I'll give you my own as well.
Actually, you know what? I've got it. I know exactly what they'll do.
Okay.
They'll obtain the rights to a really old PC game called Pipe Dream. It'll be Pipe Dream Remastered. Anyone can make a leak, will be the tagline. Anyone can make a leak, but you, or only you, can prevent them. I came up with that yesterday, and I just I didn't know where to put it in this. It's in my notes and everything.
Well, good job.
Anyone can make a leak. Remember. But legitimately, I feel like some random puzzle game could be the thing, and Pipe Dream Remastered is what I'm going to go with just because.
Alright. My guess, I'm going to guess there's going to be some teddy bears in the Old West. And it'll be like Teddy Bear Cowboy. You play as a teddy in a town for teddy bears, and you got to shoot the stuffing out of all the bad teddy bears.
You're going to stuff them full of lead.
Exactly.
Or whatever.
That's my guess. If I get this right, everyone come back to me and let me know, because I'll probably be in a coma and I'll wake up after that.
Don't worry, I'll visit him in the hospital and slap him in his sleep.
Yeah, but Devolver Digital will be fun, so...
Right. They're this weird kind of train wreck that I'm actually kind of excited to see what happens, but not in a train wreck way. Train wreck way. Impossible. We have to go stop Dr. Wily, Mega Man.
Well, shit.
But they're a train wreck. I'm almost excited to see what happens, not in a train wreck way, but in a legitimate way. And also, there's a train wreck happening next door. You know, like
I wonder what the body count will be this year.
You know, I haven't been keeping track. I'm actually going to go rewatch the other two later,
so you can keep up with the
lore. Because I want to see what's going on. All right, but I think that's all I have for them, really.
All right. Well, after that it'll be on Monday. It's the PC gaming show. Do you want to talk about the PC gaming show?
God doesn't. Why should we?
I'm kidding. Yeah, I don't want to either.
And I don't have anything to say because I'm not a PC guy yet.
Yeah,
yet is my asterisk.
Me neither. Well, not as much. But yeah, PC gaming show's happening. It happens at 11 for our time, 11 in the morning on Monday. So
yeah. I feel like this is that show that if you're super into specs and the technology, you watch. But if you're not here, or if you're not into that, they don't do like huge announcements for games and stuff. Really, this isn't the games part of anything. This is the tech part of things, and that's cool if you're into it.
I feel like the PC gaming show is the exact type of event. If E3 just was one giant show that was nonstop, like there wasn't breaks in between, this is where you'd go take a bathroom break and get something to eat.
Yeah, this is the part where we all go out to old Chicago and get a few drinks and talk about whatever. Don't worry, it'll be out of our system before they're done.
But after the PC gaming show is going to be Ubisoft, and Ubisoft has had an interesting history with E3. They have good moments, they have bad moments, they have Ubisoft moments.
Yeah. See, Ubisoft was always the ones that had the hardest time with their transition to 3D E3, and it's been a rocky history ever since they left the Sega Genesis. Wait, hold up. But Ubisoft is weird, but this is the year where I feel like there are a lot of unknowns here. You know, like, the only thing I can actively think of that they have to show that isn't the free space on your bingo card, Just Dance, is that we know Beyond Good and Evil 2 is coming. Oh. And that's the only thing I can think of.
I do want to mention Ubisoft will be at 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. our time on Monday. Sorry, okay. I forgot to say that at the beginning.
For those wondering what our time is, it's Mountain Time.
Beyond Good and Evil 2. That was revealed in 2017, and
we have seen trailers, CG trailers, and no gameplay. We have a singular screenshot of gameplay that is only visible slightly at a weird angle from their conference last year. So we know nothing really about the game other than some of the story stuff. We don't know how this is going to play. We don't know how it really feels in every other way.
Yeah.
So please let this year be the blowout on gameplay information, because if I get just another CG trailer, my stance straight up is I'm not buying this game. I'm not here for it.
I'm going to have to shatter your dreams. Huh. They already confirmed they're not talking about it this year.
Well, I'm not buying Beyond Good and Evil 2 when it comes out 20 never.
I'm sure it'll be cool when it comes out, but this is obviously a big game that they've been working on for a while. They're just not ready to have it out yet. It's their Cyberpunk 2021.
I feel like this is their Duke Nukem Forever. Where, like, this was revealed way too early with so little done, I feel like. Like, they've got so many of the outline things made, but they haven't finished enough of it to really be worth showing. You know, in the same vein that I say that it was way too soon to show off the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Which, side note, we have known about for 5 years.
Yeah, that is true, but I disagree with Beyond Good and Evil 2 just because it's been 2 years. They've announced games like earlier that people keep on going and like believing in. Like even like Metroid Prime 4, and that got completely reworked.
Right.
Otherwise, Cyberpunk got announced like a forever ago. People are still excited for that. Friggin', do you know how many years it was until the last Guardian finally came out?
Right, now that I think about it, how long have we even known the name Last Guardian before it had come out?
Exactly. I don't think it's too early yet. I know that people want some more, and it will come. We just gotta give it time. There are other games in the meantime.
Well, I'm not impatient on it or anything, because I also haven't even played Beyond Good and Evil 1. I'm not I can't wait to see where this goes or any of that. I'm just on this kind of side where I look at it, and so far you're doing all the things that I hate people doing when it comes to showing off games, where we've had this at multiple shows and we have seen CG only and no information on how this game really plays or works and what really matters to the experience of this game. As far as trying to sell me on a product, they have had multiple years to try and sell me, and I have not had any inkling of caring. In fact, honestly, I'm kind of sliding further and further into the negative every time they show something with it. So, I feel like this is a game that maybe it's just not for me, but that they're handling this really badly right now, to me. And I think that they needed to wait longer to be able to show it, because they needed to have something to show to make people think, yes, this is interesting. Because as it stands, I feel like it's being sold on its name and nothing more.
Understandable. That I get where you're coming from, and that's fair.
That said, I have a question.
What was that?
Think we'll see Assassin's Creed again?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
In fact, there's been a rumor for a Viking Assassin's Creed. We are starting with God of War. Last year, we are going Norse. This is all Norse now.
Well, you see, it's because of Thor. It's because of Thor and his bitchin' beard, and his bitchin' hair, and his bitchin' hammer. Just now that has been such a strong thing for so long, and that got people to start looking into Norse mythology when it became mainstream, that now everybody's trying to dip their hands into it, and I think God of War probably has done it the best so far.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see what they do with it for Assassin's Creed, if that's the direction they go.
Yeah, probably, typical double axes, probably some boat gameplay, traveling. Maybe you'll go kill Leif Erikson or something. I don't know.
Right.
Let's see. Other things that Ubisoft has is they still have that Skull and Bones game they've been working on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they showed it the same year as Sea of Thieves was revealed. And
Pirates are in this year.
Yes. Sea of Thieves came out way before it did. But it looks interesting because it looks like it's mostly naval combat and stuff.
Yeah, it's from what I was seeing of the gameplay, it is 1-to-1 with some improvements, mind you, the Assassin's Creed Black Flag ship battles gameplay. So if you really want to know how this game plays, it's not going to be too different from that except multiplayer. But I'm intrigued just because the ship battles in Black Flag were pretty fun. I feel like what keeps me away from it is if it's only the ship battles, I feel like that's sort of missing the point of what made that fun, if that makes sense. It's like if you make a Batman game spin-off that's entirely just in the Batmobile from Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
Like, that's fun in its own right, mind you, but it's sort of almost like a side mode. So I'm worried, but maybe they can make it worth that on its own. Maybe they can do something that'll make it as engaging as, say, how I found Starlink when they did that.
Yeah.
Where I figured maybe doing a space adventure game without the space legs wouldn't work, but it works. So,
speaking of Starlink, do you think they're going to do another joint Nintendo adventure? Because since Mario and Rabbids Kingdom 2 years ago, they have done one every year.
2 years ago.
They have done one every year with Star Fox and Starlink and stuff. So do you think they're going to just keep it going and get another Nintendo property to fuse?
I'm not sure. The thing about it with Starlink that makes this tricky is that Starlink was actually a different game entirely that just kind of happened to get to include Star Fox out of sheer dumb luck. Mm-hmm. That they brought it up to Miyamoto and he's like, oh, okay, sure. And that was it.
Uh-huh.
So, I'm curious what they could do. If I could have my wish, I want them to take the reins for an F-Zero title. Because clearly Nintendo doesn't want to do it anymore. Maybe it's just Miyamoto. And people listen to Miyamoto more than they should some days, and the Splatoon team's the only team that's ever been wise enough to say, nah, screw you. But I feel like Ubisoft has this position where they could make F-Zero work in an interesting way if they try.
I don't know of any well-known Ubisoft racing games, though. Don't know how
not racing, but I feel like from what I saw of Starlink and what I played of Starlink, that it has the sense of speed that you would need to make something like that work. And maybe the team that did Starlink and their clear love for these vehicles and these ships and the way everything connects and works, maybe they could do something with it. But this is a just now kind of thought. This isn't something I've been thinking about for weeks and thoroughly planning. Just sort of, maybe that would be the one if they were going to take some work together. Or maybe they'll finally be given the permission to make a Star Fox game.
I was going to say that. I was just about to mention that. Yeah, I think that if they were allowed to use the Star Fox license and to make a proper Star Fox game, like a full-on Star Fox game, I think they could do very well.
I think Starlink is such a good start for that direction that really, if they just build on that, that they could do it.
Do you think they'd ever make a sequel to Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think it'll be next year.
Really?
Yeah, I think that they've done enough that if they're going to do more, it's either going to be another DLC pack, which I doubt because I think there was a complete edition released for Mario & Rabbids.
Yeah.
Or that they'll wait a year and then come back and have a full blowout for another game in that series. When they've realized that there is a market enough for it that they can do another one and it will work. They've already have, mind you, but they would probably be starting fresh and maybe building on the engine, doing new mechanical things with it. But there's also that possibility that the team that was working on it didn't stop. So...
another Bethesda rumor that... Or not Bethesda! Oh my god, my mind
That's the twist. Yeah. They've shown up for Ubisoft now. They're crashing it with Skyrim for... They don't have their own first-party device.
No.
Skyrim for Uplay.
No, it's Viking. It's not Viking Assassin's Creed.
It's Skyrim Assassin's Creed.
There you go. But no, for another one, I can't remember if it was announced or rumored, but I think a new Watch Dogs is on the horizon.
That's right. I remember something about that now. I forgot that they own Watch Dogs.
Yep.
Watch Dogs 1's first reveal is still one of those highlights of E3 for me, where I was legitimately like, what's going on? It's one of the few times they've ever gotten that out of me. And I really want just one Watch Dogs game to come out that lives up to that moment.
That's fair. There's been rumors that the new Watch Dogs would come out and it'd be based in London.
Ooh.
And just stuff like that, so... It would definitely be interesting to see.
Right. I need to go through Watch Dogs sometime, one or two or both, and learn more what the story is generally about, because all I really understand is that it's this hacker who has access to a thing of the grid, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But not the Tron grid. That's a very important distinction. It sounds like something interesting, and I kind of want to see them go into even further crazier places with do secret agents with this or something. But that just depends where they go. Yeah. And I'm curious enough to see what a Watch Dogs 3 will be like. So,
do you think that this is the year for Splinter Cell? A brand new Splinter Cell.
I think no, for one reason. I think they confirmed that there was some new Rainbow Six game that they're going to show. And I have a feeling that the Rainbow Six team is the Splinter Cell team.
Really?
I have this feeling, but I'm not sure. I don't know Ubisoft and their stuff well enough, but I'm pretty sure that they're either the same team or close enough together that they wouldn't have both. So I think any resources that would go to one are going to that.
Okay.
I think we're going to see a new Far Cry thing, though.
Oh, yeah. Well...
Because they've done it every year at this point.
The new whatever it was called, the Far Cry 5 little extra bit wasn't too long ago.
Yeah.
After the nuke dropped that game.
Was there a nuke in Far Cry? I don't play Far Cry. I've got a lot of questions.
Yeah, at the spoiler alert, at the end of Far Cry 5, there a nuke drops basically in the what is the canon ending, and basically they made a spin-off of it of you playing in the post nuke world in that same area.
That's what that was. Okay, that actually sounds fleetingly interesting.
Yeah,
for Far Cry.
New Dawn. Far Cry New Dawn.
I was mixing up New Dawn and Youngblood, and that was where my head was. I'm just like, wait, which one is it?
Far Cry New Dong City.
Okay, so you did catch my slip up. Far Cry New Dong, rated X.
Anything interesting? Anything else interesting? Do you think that Ubisoft could show?
I'm curious if there's any chance of a regular Rayman game coming.
Ooh, I would love a new Rayman game.
Right. I would like them to go back to 3D and try that again. Like the three-dimensional formula. I know the 2D ones have been great and all that, but the thing is you don't need to make another one of those entirely. I would love to have another one of those, don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. But I would love to see them try the 3D, but that's the same thing I say to Sonic Team every time. So... I'd like to see them try that again now that they've gotten a team that clearly gets what Rayman can be at its best. Yeah. Love to see them do that and see what happens. So I'm my wish game for this whole conference, for Ubisoft at least, is for a new Rayman. Well, and I'm not even a Rayman fan. I liked Legends, but that's it. I would like to see them do it.
I enjoy Rayman, so yeah, I would really like to see a new Rayman game.
But otherwise, I think we've said everything I can about Ubisoft.
All right, well then that brings us right up to the people who replaced Sony's time slot, Square Enix.
Oh, really? How long? Do they say how long theirs is going to be? Or
I'm not exactly sure on the length. They're going to be on Monday as well, but theirs is going to be at 7 p.m. And yeah, I have no idea how long it's supposed to be, but I think I heard that they took Sony's time slot since since
Sony's decided they're not going to.
Yeah, but yeah, Square's got some. They dealt out a lot of stuff they've been working on, so now they're going down to the little bits that they've already talked about and have yet to release yet.
Right, this is that year with Square where I think we're going to see a lot of stuff. Like, we're going to get elaboration on a lot of their projects rather than new announcements, which I'm okay with. Side note, we're just going to not talk about The Quiet Man. Just like its actual release, we're just trying to sweep it under the rug very
that
quietly.
Game could have been so cool if
they tried.
Did it right.
Yeah, it tried.
Well, I know one focus that they're definitely going to have is the Avengers game.
Right? I'm so excited this time because last year I was like, please show me the Avengers game, and they didn't show it. And then Square also, to me, had the worst conference last year because there was not a single thing except for Babylon Fall and The Quiet Man that they showed that was not somewhere else. So I felt like their presence was just unnecessary. Mm-hmm. But this year they have a chance to do that with just the Avengers project and Final Fantasy VII alone. And we'll get to Final Fantasy in a minute. But Avengers project, what I remember us hearing about last year was this that it was going to be sort of an online multiplayer kind of experience, almost an MMO-like game, where your classes were based on the Avengers themselves. Like there was an Iron Man class, or a Hulk class, or a Spider-Man class. And, and I'm actually really interested in that. I would like to pick that up, but I'm a big Marvel nerd.
No, that's fair.
They've consumed me. I fell to it. Save yourselves. But
it'll definitely be interesting to see if they even announce anything new. But given with Endgame not too long ago and everything, Marvel hype is at its peak right now, or at least still near the top. So this is the time to do it, if any.
Right. And I'm hoping to see some really cool stuff about it. I have a feeling that there was a reason we didn't see anything about this game last year, and I don't think it's because it wasn't ready, if that makes sense. I think that this game's probably closer than we think, and that the reason that they didn't show any of it last year is because the one teaser we have for it makes me think that it would have spoiled something in Endgame that they're going to try and focus in on this time. And maybe that's why they skipped it last year, why we just didn't hear anything about it.
I could see that.
Not to say that they didn't have, or that they would have had something then. They probably didn't have anything yet either. Yeah. But that, like, the little teaser we had was all the Avengers equipment in like, this ruins and shit.
Yeah, I remember the shield and the helmet.
Yeah, so I feel like that's going to lead into something with that. And, like, maybe that's why they waited. Mm-hmm. I also find it interesting that at the same time as we're seeing this, that Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 still isn't out.
It'll come out soon, but we'll talk more about that at Nintendo's
right.
But yes, I remember that Square Enix is also gonna talk more about the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Right? Well, at least we think they're going to talk about the Final Fantasy VII remake. Because at PlayStation Experience, they said we'll see you in June.
Yeah.
Not specifically we'll see you at E3.
I think they just meant E3.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping they mean E3. But Square Enix is that company that I love them and I hate them so much all at the same time. And I never imagined that I could hate anything as much as I hate Square Enix. So
fair enough.
But they might. I'm hoping they show us something cool for Final Fantasy VII. I'm hoping we get a release date for Part 1. Not date, but window for Part 1. Because we know this is an episodic game, and they're probably going to stand by that, and I understand that, because that's probably a better way to handle their resources with this one. Because, like, you've seen how this game looks. It's crazy, you know?
Yes. Final Fantasy VII, coming to the consoles near you after the birth of your 7th great-great-great-grandchild.
Yeah. It's alright, the heat death of the universe comes first, but it's okay. This game will still release before we get a new F-Zero title.
Yeah. You think they're going to talk about any of their Switch games that they've been working on?
Right, the Tokyo RPG Factory stuff. Maybe. Didn't they have... What was that one RPG that we saw it at a Nintendo Direct?
I know what you're talking about. The one where, like...
Oninaki? I think that's the name, or something close to that.
I think that sounds right.
It was a very Japanese name. I remember that part. Naki. Nope. Naki, not Nagi.
No, it just switched it.
Okay. But I think we might see something about that.
Oninaki for Nintendo Switch.
Okay. Yeah, I got the name right. I think we might see something about that. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's kind of like a spiritual follow-up to the games like I Am Setsuna and Lost Sphere.
Yeah.
You know? What I'm really hoping we see as an announcement, though this is probably going to be like a Nintendo one rather than a Square one, is something to explain what's going on with the Bravely Default stuff, like in that franchise. Because I would like to see that get a comeback, if you will. Mm-hmm. Like an actual follow-up, a third game in the series, but Bravely Third. Or maybe a Switch port for one of them would be cool. And I think that was a theory that was running for a while. We had this teaser image way back of one of the characters from the Bravely Default franchise holding Joy-Cons and everything. And then nothing came of that.
So you think this will be the year that they announce it?
Possibly. And I think specifically, announce but not actually release or like show gameplay of. Purely because that team is the team that worked on Octopath Traveler. So, yeah, I think that they're not going to do that because they're probably busy working on the port because they're porting that to PC right now. And probably to other consoles soon. I think it was just a timed exclusive, but it was definitely doing the best on Switch. Yeah. So, I mean, that's something crazy to think about. We're probably going to see some info about that being released on PC, if that's not already done, by the way. Octopath. Yeah. So, but we might see... I'm hoping we see some things from Tokyo RPG Factory.
It'd be nice,
What I really want to see info on is on Babylon Fall. Because they announced that, and that it's a Platinum Games thing. And that's all we know, really. Yeah. And I think that it'd be nice to see more, but I would also understand if we don't, because they didn't even really have concept art to show us last year when they talked about that. So I'm unsure what we'll see. The other reason I think we won't see it for sure is that it's a Platinum Games game.
Yeah.
And how many things does Platinum have on their plate right now?
8.
Like, for sure we know Bayonetta 3, Astral Chain, and I think there's one more, and then Babylon Fall. So, like, Platinum Games right now is so overworked and stretched out that I'm starting to worry for them more than I was worrying for Sakurai during Brawl's development. Like, I'm worrying for that whole team, because they probably don't get a lot of breaks. So...
Well, we just gotta hope for the best. I'm sure that they're taking care of themselves.
Yeah, but, I'm wondering what Babylon Fall is, because it sounds like it's different from their other projects.
Yeah.
Like it's something very different. Because I can't imagine them working with Square on this otherwise. But then again, I guess Nier is still different, but not as different. Compared, it's still Bayonetta in a lot of ways, but it's not Bayonetta. So it's Bayonetta elements mixed in with its own thing. So we'll see what happens from where this goes. But I hope we see something about Babylon Fall, or maybe hear about it. But that's really all I have for Square.
All right. Well, before we get to the main event, I wanted to talk about some games that we didn't touch on that I don't know where exactly they'd get talked about at. One, the WB rumored Harry Potter RPG.
Oh, I think I remember hearing something about this now that you say it.
Yeah, there was a big leak about it. Somebody recorded the trailer on their cell phone.
Oh.
And it got taken down, and every video that I was talking about, it got taken down by WB.
Oh, wow. So there's probably some real credibility to this, because they would ignore it, you know?
Yeah, so do you think it'll be announced this year?
I think if there was a trailer somebody had, probably. But if that's... fake leak, and, much like with Pipe Dream, anyone can make a leak. But, I could see that. Honestly, though, that just sounds exciting. Like, that sounds like something even I would kind of pick up, and I'm not a big Harry Potter fan anymore. Like, I just kind of drifted away, and that's about the end of that story for me. But I would pick that up. I would be interested enough to see how that works if it's... But I'm curious if it's a story RPG where you're going through, like... The story of Harry Potter again, or if it's a make your own character one.
Actually, there was more information on it too. Apparently it was a make your own character. You could join any house. There was a good and evil alignments. You can fight goblins and kill them and stuff.
All right, I'm more and more on board with this as we go.
So yeah, but
this could be like really Avengers cool. Project and being the really cool licensed game for a franchise, and having both of those at the same time in the world is like that. This would feel like a very special E3 just because of both of those. I would like to see that.
Another game, well, not necessarily a game, but a studio that's been working on something in secret. Rocksteady. Rocksteady Games have been working.
I can never do it without.
But they've been working on something, and they confirmed it wasn't Superman or Justice League, but there have been other names thrown out there. A new Batman game, Suicide Squad game.
I kind of hope we just stop with the Batman, but this is because I feel like you can't top where Arkham Knight stopped. Essentially,
I don't think they're going to continue on with the Arkham Knight series, but
yeah,
maybe like a new. Like, I've heard of a Court of Owls game. Batman the Court of Owls.
I don't know anything else about that one.
It's a really good story. Like, one of the best Batman stories. And to put that into a game would get people super hyped.
That could be interesting. Maybe their secret announcement is that they've taken the rights to and are reviving, Telltale Batman, so we can finally finish that.
Wouldn't that be nice?
One thought, I feel like I passed something about this somewhere. Did they confirm or deconfirm that it was a Flash game? Like, The Flash?
I think that's just a rumor for now. Like, there have been several DC superheroes thrown out there for names of the upcoming, whatever they've been working on, but... nothing is solid yet except for the ones they've deconfirmed, such as Superman and Justice League.
Right.
Or it might just be Superman.
I understand not doing Superman, but that's the one I really want them to do. Because Superman would be the most intriguing, but it also would be the hardest one to make a good game for.
Yeah.
Because when you have a character that's that powerful, you have to be able to put restrictions on the player. So the only really good way I can think of to do a Superman game is like an origin story kind of thing, building up his powers and making him progressively stronger.
Yeah, I could see something like that.
But at the same time, that's one of those things that people are so sick of, is superhero origin stories, as Spider-Man has shown us. And I'm just like, I don't know if that's what they'd go with, but I can't think of a better way to go about it.
Mm.
But if it's DC, there's a lot of ones they can go with, too.
Yeah.
I would love a Green Lantern one, personally.
Yeah, I think you could do a lot of cool stuff with that.
Dude, Green Lantern, like Metroidvania one, where he's, like, gaining abilities with the ring. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe the place he's at has some restriction. I don't know. We can BS our way into how this works, but getting different abilities for the ring would get you more abilities to get around.
Yeah.
Or get around and get through obstacles for combat purposes. I could see that working out.
Yeah. All right, well, that's all I got for the extra game. So now, time for...
I do have
you
one.
Got something?
I do have one we might see.
Okay, what do you got?
I think we might actually see some information on a Sonic game.
Outside of Nintendo's?
Well, possibly. It might show up at Nintendo's, but I feel like Sega's usually been the ones to announce these kinds of things in standalone. Mm-hmm. Lately, they stick to South by Southwest for their announcements, but I feel like if it's a big enough one, if it's an important enough one, something they think that they can get away with that way, essentially, that they would do it at E3. Okay. I mean, like they used to with Sonic Lost World, Generations, and Colors were all E3 announcements, you know?
Yeah.
And then they just kind of stopped doing that for years. But I think there's been an odd amount of smoke pointing in the weirdest direction of Sonic Adventure 1 or 2 or both HD remakes.
I've heard about this, yeah.
And I'm really hoping that's the case, because I would like to see what they do, but I'm also terrified of that possibility, because Sonic Team is a very different team from where they were when they made Sonic Adventure. You know? Yeah. And for better and for worse, I don't know how this will turn out. I'm honestly, like, worried if that's what it'll be, but I think that that's coming, and I'm hoping E3 is where we finally get to hear about it. But if it's not, it's not. But that's something I can't see them putting into a conference so much as a standalone announcement somewhere.
Yeah, I could probably see that, but I'd also wouldn't be surprised if it just popped up at Nintendo's conference or something.
Yeah. Alright, well, before we go into Nintendo, do we want to take a quick break and shake everything out, get some blood flowing before we come back?
Sure, just for a second, just some stretches and juice and push-ups. I don't know.
We'll do that, yeah.
Alright.
We'll have the whole workout montage spliced in and everything. It'll work.
We'll be right back.
Yeah.